Well, I grew up in Louisiana. I grew up in New Orleans, born in New Orleans, and I grew up in the church. And so, and my whole life from day one, I was in the church, worship, playing music. I started playing violin when I was 3, and then that started leading to drums and all these different instruments. And my family did missions work all over the world. So we lived in Russia for 3 years and helped plant 25 different churches. And we're smuggling Bibles into China in the 90s when it was like a pretty dangerous thing to do. And this whole time is just, it was all about what my church's got, my church's belief was, who my parents' Jesus was. And I went to Amsterdam on a missions trip, and it impacted me so much that I saw this culture that is a crazy culture. And I went back the summer of my senior year in high school. My parents were crazy enough to send a 16 or 17-year-old to Amsterdam for the summer. And we saw crazy things, and I started hanging out with these YWAM guys. And at one point, we were just going to these different bars and clubs, and I saw people just not preaching about Jesus. I saw them building relationships. And out of that, started seeing things happen in the community. We moved to Colorado and started leading worship at a church there. And then I went to London and went to a music school. And that year in London was definitely, from that time in Amsterdam to my time in London, it's like I was on this journey of discovery and identity. And I started going to Soul Survivor, which is Matt Redman, Tim Hughes' church. And it was the first time that I saw a local church that was having a global impact, and how that these worship songs were getting into places that I don't think any of them could have ever dreamed of. So for me, I've been in this identity discovery journey, and I think God's just really called us to write prophetic songs for the church and for the world. And I know people get, when they hear that word prophetic, they get a little like, well, that's kind of weird, man. And for me, I feel like all we need to be doing is speaking life into dead places. That's all prophetic is if we can bring hope and bring life into dead places, then the desolation has to run. I've had some really hurtful things that happened to me in the church, even in the last 5 years. And I went from hating the church, and I went from having a prayer that went, God, just come destroy the church and rebuild everything and use me to help, build, start afresh. Because I thought that, I was like, let's just get rid of everything, right? And I was like, what an awful prayer. My prayer now that God has completely revolutionized our life is that God would restore the church, and that we, out of that restoration, that we would honestly and truly see community and city transformation. And all of a sudden, the last 3 years, miracles have started happening in our lives. And one thing that I've learned is that when miracles happen, obviously there's specific miracles that take place, and but for us is when we start asking God for just a breakthrough in our life, and just the kind of the mess that we're in, healing started to happen, and it reached out to every area of our life. My wife and I started an adoption process in about 1.5 years ago, and through that whole process of adoption, I rediscovered how incredible God is. The moment that I heard my son's first cry, I couldn't no longer, believe that anyone could ever say they deny who God is. That God does not exist, because as soon as I saw him and the fight that we had for him to become our son and be ours is just, it's like, I think that showed me again who God is, you know, and how the Father that He is, and the warrior that He is. And we've been doing this whole music worship thing for years now, but it's really in the last 3 years we wrote a song called Like a Lion. And for me, I think if that's the only song that anyone ever hears from us, that for me, I think that's what our message is. That God would truly send revival to our churches and to our cities, and that we would shake the ground. That with this message that He's given us, and with this story that we have, and this power that we have, it's time for the church to wake up. And you know, I'll keep roaring, I'll keep screaming as long as we have, God gives us a voice to do it. And man, if we can just scream the message of hope, man, we'll change everything.